Hi friends, welcome to another episode of my channel. And in today's class, we're going to learn about the second part of nationalism in India. In this chapter, we are going to learn about the different strands of movement that took place in the non-cooperation movement. So I request all of you all to stay glued and listen to this lecture. Now previously you learned about the Satyagraha movement that took place in our country. You also learned that much of these movements were of grand success, but slowly these movements took a violent overturn. Now how did the violence occur? Well, the Britishers were provoking Indians, harassing us in various means and measures, and Indians began to feel enraged, began to revolt against the Britishers in a violent fashion. Now this was against the principles of Gandhiji, who believed in non-violence. You also learned that Gandhiji had stated that because we had cooperated with the Britishers were able to rule our country. He believed if we didn't cooperate, the Britishers would have collapsed in a year's time. You also learned about how Gandhiji had begun to support the Khilafat movement as he wanted to bridge the Hindu-Muslim divide. But he faced a lot of opposition in his own party, as when he proposed his idea of non-cooperation movement unfolding in various stages, the party believed that this would result in more violence. He had to negotiate with the Congress, and over a period of time, finally the Congress believed and agreed to his ideals. Now what has happened out here? You're going to learn in this particular unit about how this non-cooperation movement unfolded in different parts of a country. You're going to learn about how the non-cooperation movement took place in villages, how it took place in cities, and how it affected the plantation system in our country. But more so, you're going to learn about what was the meaning of Swaraj. So stay glued to this particular unit. The non-cooperation movement began in the month of January 1921. You had various social groups participating in this particular movement, but each of these participants had their own ambitions and aspirations. But all of them responded to the call of Swaraj. But this term Swaraj meant different things for different people. So before we go ahead with this particular unit, we must understand what the term Swaraj is. Now Swaraj basically meant self-governance or self-rule, and was more commonly used to mention the word home rule, meaning the indigenous population will rule its own country. But for Gandhiji, this term actually meant being free from the foreign domination. Now we are going to learn about the different strands within the non-cooperation movement. Please understand that this concept is very important, as it usually comes for 5 marks in your board exams. So the first strand which took place in the non-cooperation movement is the movement that took place in towns. The second strand refers to the rebellion that took place in the countryside, and the third strand, the Swaraj movement that took place in the plantations. The first strand that we're going to focus is called the movement in the towns. So what actually took place during those times? Well, the middle class population began to support this particular cause, so they joined the protest in both towns and cities. Secondly, you had students boycotting schools and colleges that were run by the British government. Third, you had headmasters and teachers who resigned from their jobs and refused to join the schools and colleges. You also had lawyers who gave up their legal practices. The fourth, you had council elections were boycotted in most provinces except for Madras. Now what happened in Madras? Well, in Madras there was a party called the Justice Party, which was a party of non-Brahmins, and they felt the only way to enter the council was to basically stand for elections, and that's the only time they're going to get power. So they refused to basically give up on this demand of boycotting the elections, all because they knew that the Brahmins always had the power, and if they boycotted the elections they would not have any access to the powers. So that is why they refused to basically boycott the elections. Now what happened in the economic front? Well, foreign goods were boycotted and the liquor shops were picketed in our country. You had foreign clothes being burnt as bonfires in different parts of the cities. You had the import of foreign clothes being reduced. Merchants and traders also refused to basically trade with those engaging with the Britishers. And fourth, what happened was Indians slowly, as they began to boycott the foreign made products, the Indian textile industry began to boom, especially the khadi and other handicraft kind of industries. So with all these happening, why did this movement slow down? Well, khadi was very expensive, and it took a long time for it to be produced. So the poor people could not afford this kind of products, whereas the machine-made products were more cheaper. Second, there was no Indian institutions that were in equivalent par of that of the Britishers. So when the education institutions were stopped, what had happened was the Indians lost their form of education. So thus the children began to go back to schools and colleges because there was no alternate Indian institution where they could study, which was in equal par with education provided by the Britishers. And last, when this boycott was taking, when you had the headmasters, the teachers, the lawyers, everyone boycotting their practices, it resulted in financial instability. The people were not getting enough income to basically survive. So what happened? They began to go back to their original place of work. So that's how this movement slowed down. So the movement, which actually went in a really fast pace, slowly had a sad death at the end. The second strand that we're going to focus upon is called rebellion in the countryside. Now, you learnt in the previous concept that this movement took place in towns and cities initially, but slowly this movement took shape in the countryside, where the peasants and tribals who were being under so much oppression by rich landlords, the talukdars, these Britishers, began to fight back. So we're going to learn about two different places that took place. One is called Awadh, which is in present-day Uttar Pradesh, and you have the Gundam Hills, which are there in Andhra Pradesh. So what happened actually in Awadh? Well, this movement was started by Baba Ramchandra. So what happened? This movement was against the talukdars and landlords who were actually demanding the peasants to pay huge rents, and then there was simple and lot of taxes which are being levied on these people. So it was becoming a hardship for these peasants who are actually non-rich and who are ultimate sufferers. The third thing which happened out here was there was this beggar system which was prevalent during this time. Now beggar system is basically forced labor without any form of payment. You're forced to do something, you're forced to basically work without even any kind of wages. So what happens? You're not getting any income to sustain your own family. The fourth thing was that tenants were forcibly evicted from the land. So this was the major thing which happened in Awadh. So when this movement came into existence, they focused on three major things. One is reduction of revenue. I already mentioned that the talukdars and landlords were demanding higher rent. Okay, they were having a lot of taxes being imposed on the peasants who were not able to pay all these things. So they wanted the reduction of all these kind of revenue systems. The second thing was abolition of beggar system. As I told you earlier, beggar system was forced labor without any form of payment. So they wanted that to be completely removed. The third thing was social boycott of oppressive landlords. So those landlords which were basically oppressing the peasant community decided that they would socially boycott and create a kind of a trouble with these rich landlords who actually had to survive because of the peasants. If you boycotted them, they would suffer. So this was the three major crux of this whole movement. So how did this movement actually shape up? Across different panchayats in Awadh, they decided not to provide even the basic support or basic services to these rich landlords, talukdars or merchants in any form. So how do they do so? Like for example, they decided that they're not going to, cut their hair, they're not going to wash their clothes. So a lot of these things were done where they decided to socially boycott these people. And you had Nehruji coming down, going across different villages of Awadh and trying to get the pulse of the people and understand what were their real grievances. So after sensing all the needs of the people, slowly an organization called the Audh Kisan Sabha was started with the help of Jawaharlal Nehru. You had Baba Ramchandran and few other eminent personalities. So over a period of time, almost 300 branches were set up across this whole region. But the Congress party was very unhappy because once this movement began to diversify, the real purpose or the real reason why this movement was started was slowly lost. This movement slowly became very violent where you had these peasant communities going to the rich landlords' houses, becoming very violent, destroying the houses, burning the houses. You had the bazaars being attacked, looted. You had these grains which were hoarded by them being attacked. So a lot of these movements became really violent in nature. And these local leaders who were basically part of these committees, etc., they started to invoke Gandhi's name. because that gave a lot of aspiration to the people. So what they told the people was that, Gandhiji has said that, you don't have to pay any taxes, and slowly land will be redistributed to the poor. So these were like factors which were actually triggering these peasants to undertake a kind of a struggle and movement. So this is how the movement actually shaped up in Awadh. Previously you learned what happened in Awadh, how the peasant community fought for the rights. Now you're going to learn about how the tribal people began to fight for the rights in a place called Gudam Hills, which is in Andhra Pradesh. So what actually happened? Now these tribals were forcibly evicted from the forest in this particular region. They were not allowed to enter the forest, take any form of produces, any kind of timber for their own use, which angered these tribal communities. Why? Because their whole livelihood was based on the forest. Secondly, what happened, the colonial government during those times, they wanted to have better connectivity of roads so that their kind of mining industry would actually boom. In that process, what happened, they forced the tribal community to do the beggar system, forced labor without any form of wages, which enraged the tribal community even more. So how did they show their anger? They formed small militant organizations where these people were trained to combat in warfare using local weaponry, and they began to attack the Britishers in any form, mostly in a very violent manner. During this time, a leader sprouted up. His name was Alluri Sitaram Arjun. So what he did, he said that I have a lot of supernatural powers, but he also convinced the people to follow the Gandhian kind of philosophy, like in terms of wearing khadi and giving up drinking. But the only difference between his line of thought and Gandhiji's line of thought was Gandhiji believed in peace, whereas Alluri Sitaram Arjun, he believed that you have to use violent measures to get Swaraj. So what happened? These rebel communities of these tribals began to attack police stations, began to kill people, and they believed by doing so they can attain Swaraj. Later on, Alluri Sitaram Arjun was captured and then he was executed by the British crown. The third strand is called Swaraj and plantation. Now when it comments the class, I clearly mentioned that Swaraj means different things for different people. Now here for plantation workers in Assam, it meant right to move freely rather than being confined to the enclosed places. Now what do you mean by these enclosed places? Well, there was an Inland Immigration Act of 1859 that didn't allow these plantation workers to leave these tea gardens without the permission of the owners. Now who are the owners? The Britishers. They were rarely given permission to go back to their homes. Now when different satyagraha movements were taking place and Swaraj was being, well established, lot of movements going across different parts of a country, the plantation workers in Assam also got a hang of what was happening. So they decided to defile this inland immigration because they believe that when Gandhi Raj comes, they will all be given land in their villages. So why to work under some person who is very oppressive? Let us leave these plantations and go to our own villages. So many of them decided to flee from these plantation planters, and as they managed to escape, many of them were caught by the police, mercilessly beaten and brought back to these tea plantations. This is what happened out. Now the different movements that took place in towns, cities, you had in countryside by the peasant community, by the tribals, by the plantation workers. All of them didn't go as per the design of the Congress party, because Congress party believed in ideology of non-violence, and some of these movements really became violent in nature. For a period, as I already mentioned, Swaraj different things. The intention based on the cause and need of people in the particular region. Swaraj was, interpreted in different ways. And people started to get the impression that wow, their troubles are all going to cease. They're not going to face any kind of suffering, and that's what they believed. When people began to shout and scream about Swatantra Bharat, it was like a pan-India movement which they wanted. Now what do you mean by pan-India movement? Across the length and breadth they wanted to finish. Now, over a period of time, Gandhi being everything was happening across the country, they started to use Gandhiji's to basically invoke and create an aspiration among the Indians. So what has happened over this period of time? The non-cooperation movement was basically started with the purpose of being, a peaceful kind of an approach where you would have these kind of movements unfolding in different stages across the country, But slowly this movement lost its sheen because it became violent. And as people didn't have a common element of what actually was meant by Swaraj, it created a lot of confusion because the interpretation varied. In my next class, we're going to learn about the different strands of movement in civil disobedience movement. But as I mentioned in the starting, this concept is very important for 5 marks, the different strands of movement that took place in the non-cooperation. Thank you for listening to this wonderful presentation.